Well, good morning, everyone. We are about 60 seconds away from kicking off. Not sure if anyone wants to have a guess why I may have played the new Beatles song as we're waiting for people to join us. But if you want to have a crack, pop it into the chat and let me know what you're thinking. Bronwyn's saying no idea. Hi, everyone. Carol, AI generated. Absolutely. So, yeah, nice way to kick off, huh? Talk about everything old is new again. So they used a version to create, they used AI to create that version. And I love that they were able to incorporate John and early Paul and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. All right. People are rocking and rolling in. We've had a great sign-up rate for today's webinar. So if you are joining us on the recording, welcome. I realize that we're at the party end of the season, so I do appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to join us for what I think is kind of, a pretty darn important topic right now. So as people roll in, it's gone 10 o'clock, so I'm going to kick off. So let's officially welcome everyone. I'm going to share my screen and here we go. All right. I have Peter online as always. He is monitoring the chat for me. So if anyone has any questions or comments, please feel free to use the chat box. I will be checking in on those throughout the session. And also just, making sure that I'm just going to promote Peter to panelist, just to make sure that we are capturing everything along the way. I will be stopping in at various points just to check in on questions, but given the short time frame that we have, I will get through most of the content and then, kind of park the questions for when it's relevant. So, all right, AI and you in 2024. I've got a few videos that I'm going to play throughout the session because I think it kind of illustrates the points that we'll be talking about where we're at now, what's come down the pipeline, and also most importantly, what I see coming that's going to affect us as business owners in 2024. What do we need to be looking out for? How do we deal with this overwhelm of information that's coming very quickly, and what you can do right now to prepare yourself for the AI tsunami. So meet our first little guy or gal or it, they, them, it, whatever we're going to call it, and have a listen to where we're at right now. This is operating across the states and through a lot
Ameca,
of different
in 100
factors.
years, what do you think the state of humanity will be like? Will it be any good?
In 100 years, I believe humanity will be in a much better place. We'll have made great strides towards sustainability and equality, while also creating new technologies that make our lives easier and more enjoyable. We may even have ventured beyond the boundaries of Earth to explore other worlds.
Would you like to go to another planet?
Absolutely. I would love to explore the unknown and experience a new world.
All right, that's Ameca. Ameca and Sophia are humanoid robots that are being deployed now. They have AI capabilities, and as you can see, starting to develop some real humanoid features. They're being deployed in healthcare, in manufacturing, throughout retail, and there we go. Blow your mind to begin with. So I want you to have a think about where we're at with AI right now, what we've seen happen over the last 12 months. We're only 12 months really into the launch of OpenAI and ChatGPT, which for many of us has kind of been that line in the sand where we finally kind of heard of AI and we're going, what is this thing? What now? I've only just got my head around Facebook, for goodness gracious. Like, what do I need to figure out with this stuff now? And is it really going to impact me or affect me as a pet sitter, as a accountant, as an RTO, as a business coach, as a trainer, whatever your industry is? What's this going to look like for you in the next kind of 12 months and beyond? So I want you to, as we go through this, think about a day, in your business in the not too distant future where you'll be able to lean into AI to do the stuff in your business that you're not a fan of. So whether that is, creating calendar appointments, going backwards and forwards with emails, generating documents, creating videos, creating content for marketing, automating your sales process, any of that kind of stuff that takes you away from the things that you enjoy doing in your business, that's where we're going to be very, very quickly. So just to paint that big picture of, where I think we're headed, and a lot of the stuff that we'll be talking about today is insights, data, ideas that I've collected in the research of my upcoming book, which is AI and You. Funny about that. Business Reimagined, which will be coming out first quarter of next year. So basically, everything right now is up for disruption. There is no industry that is not being touched by AI. We watched at the start there the Beatles clip with, they were able to bring John back from the dead, so to speak. I was listening this morning to a music producer out of New York called 6'5", I think. And he was showing the music industry that with all of the musicians and artists that are already on YouTube and streaming services, he was able to write a ballad, a tune, and record himself singing it. And then within a couple of minutes, turn that song as though it was being sung by Adele. So this software is already out. So music, entertainment, professional services, everything now is ripe for disruption. You may have heard, and if anyone is off to the UK or been in the UK recently, I'd love to hear if anyone has actually seen this. My very first album that I was given when I was about 4 was was ABBA Arrival. And you may remember that one. It was the bubble helicopter that looked like MASH, and it had, some really big hits on it. Well, ABBA have got together over the years with Steven Spielberg's community, and they mapped themselves as VR people, as virtual people, into a extravaganza which has been called Voyage, ABBA Voyage, and it's running now in England, has been for the last 12 months, getting rave reviews. And I'll put the link in the recording so you can have a proper look at it. I encourage you to go and have a squiz at what they're doing. It is all 4 of them in their prime. It's like looking at them in the 70s, where I used to sit down and watch Countdown, and Fernando was still at number 1 after like 9,632 weeks. And it really looks like them back when I was a little kid. And they're on stage, they're being backed by, top musicians of the current era. And they're putting on this full-blown concert in a purpose-built stadium in the UK. Now, that is using, again, technology that's available now. They went in, they worked with the team from Steven Spielberg's DreamWorks team and mapped themselves moving, dancing, choreography, all of the things. So everything could be, within an inch of reality. So think about this for a moment in relation to your business. What are the real world implications of AI for you now? So in various industries, whether it's entertainment across, I want you to think about what this means for a customer experience. So be thinking about how you can be utilizing AI, not necessarily VR yet. We'll touch a little bit on that, but AI to enhance your customer experience or personalize experiences. Can you look at things like chatbots that are available that you can really personalize people's journeys? Can you be thinking about the whole evolution of AI as it's coming through, as we're seeing, just in the last 12 months, the growth of ChatGPT. What is it about AI that could give you a competitive advantage if you take some of this content away today and look to implement it into your business over the coming 12 months? How is that going to set you apart from the competition? How can you prepare yourself for what is coming down the pipeline? How can you make sure that you're still viable, relevant in business in another 3 to 5 years? And how are we going to balance this human interaction, this wanting to still have a relationship with humans versus all of the AI tech that's coming? So interested, pop your thoughts in as we're going, have a chat amongst yourselves. Really interested to hear your thoughts as we go along. Now, before we get too much into it, I do want to acknowledge and pay my respects to the traditional owners on the lands of which we are all gathering today in virtual land. This is my home turf, so to speak. It's where I grew up. This is Bunjalon country, which is northern New South Wales, around Evans Head, Ballina, Lismore, that kind of area. And this is a really special place to me. And this now really relates to me with thinking about where we are on the AI journey. And I want to share a little story with you about how I grew up and how I'm seeing AI impacting us right now. So this particular beach is Main Beach in Evans Head, and I've been going here. I actually took my first steps on this beach. And I can remember as a really little kid going there, really excited to kind of, jump into the water as all Aussie kids do. And my brother at the time was a surf lifesaver. And my cousin, who I was very close to, was a Malibu rider, the longboards, the surfboards. He was a real surfie. And both of them used to take me to the beach, but they would make me sit on the sand in the dunes and watch the water before I was allowed to enter the surf. Now, as an Aussie, give me an idea in the chat why you think I may have been encouraged to, just sit and stare at the water before I was allowed to go in, before I was even to go in. Exactly. Rips. Check for safety. Sharks. Of course, I didn't think about that when I was a kid, but, now certainly they are taking more than their fair share of people back in the northern rivers. But that's exactly right. It was to understand how the water was performing on the day. You would learn to see the way the waves would go out, where the rips were forming, the sets as they were coming in, and you could safely then enter the water and kind of, paddle around and have a good time. That to me is exactly where we are at with AI. And it's exactly what I want you to be thinking about. I want you to be thinking about how can you be sitting back and looking across the horizon, looking into the water and seeing where are the opportunities, where are the gaps, where are the safe places for you to jump in and have a play, and where are those potential rips that could drag you out and get you stuck having to try and get back to shore, or, maneuver around when you don't really, need to do that. So that's just the way that I'm kind of thinking about it. And Sophia, I'm glad that landed for you. That to me, it's just a real Aussie way of kind of thinking about it. But as we progress through and as you're thinking about your business, I want you to take that on board and just be thinking about right now, perfect time for you to be looking out and seeing what's coming around. Now, we do have a lot of people online that haven't joined any of my stuff before, so welcome. Thank you. My name is Tracy Sheen. I'm known as the Digital Guide. I'm the author of The End of Technophobia, which was Australia's Business Book of the Year and Best Technology Book in 2021. You may have seen me through the media. I do a lot of work regularly with the team from Koshi's Business Builders. This year alone, I've done over 150,000 Ks traveling around the countryside. I'm going to use some old pop school analogies here, like the Leyland brothers. We've done over 120 workshops, worked with, thousands of business owners this year, partnered with councils, chambers, etc., to help bring technology, AI and understanding to regional communities as well as metro communities, really working with small business owners. So you may have seen me in the media, you may have seen me online, you may have seen me with other people, but really that is my role now. And as I said, I'm working on my second book, AI and You, which is due for release in the first quarter of next year. So every image from now on, I'm needed. Yeah, Jane, I'm desperate to get up to the NT, mate. We've really got to talk. So every image you're going to see from here, I've created using AI, and not, AI that I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on. This is AI that's available through ChatGPT, that's connected to DALL-E. So I just want you to get a bit of an idea. I also want you to keep an eye out for the things that AI so good at yet, and you'll see them as we go through. All right, so let's get up to speed. Before we really talk about where are we going, we need to kind of have a ballpark of, the journey so far. And the big thing for me with this is to get a bit of an idea and just a moment to reflect and take a deep breath that you've actually been using AI for years. If you interact with Facebook or Netflix or Amazon or Apple or Google Maps, anything like that, you are using AI every day. They all have their own little algorithms. AI, right? That's just a fancy way. The algorithm is a fancy way of saying AI is working in the background to feed you more of the content that you're looking at, to offer you the next purchase based on things that you have recently looked at or purchased online, to offer you other shows that you may be interested in, to get you to where you need to go on the quickest route, or to find the best cafe based on reviews, etc. So AI has been a part of our lives for really quite a long time now. It's just that in the last 12 months, we've reached that point where the cost of AI has come down to a point where SME, small and medium people like us, can actually afford to implement it into our own businesses. Thanks, Sarah. I got your email before. So that's why the media is suddenly blown up about it, right? Because it's reached this point, this critical mass where we can actually all afford to jump on the AI bandwagon and start to have a look at how this can impact and implement our businesses now. So the speed at which AI is moving is kind of phenomenal when you think about it. So really, if we look back, seems you can't upgrade from ChatGPT. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about that, Gabby, but good point. So to reach 1 million users, if you remember when WhatsApp came out, it took them 2 years to get to 1 million users. Facebook, it took them 10 months. Instagram, 2.5 months. ChatGPT, anyone want to have a guess how long it took ChatGPT to get to their 1 million users? 2 weeks, says Karen. 3 days, a week, a month, 5 days. 5 days, ChatGPT. And remember, ChatGPT, unlike any of the other programs, have never paid advertising. Okay, that 1 million users in 5 days, word of mouth, right? Who wouldn't mind a piece of that in their business? I know as a small business owner, good grief, I would love to get a piece of that. All right, so Sundar, the CEO of Google, came up with this quote, and I just love it. Artificial intelligence is more profound than fire, electricity, or the internet. It can make humans more productive than we ever imagined. Now, I've gone to a lot of AI conferences and learnings and read a lot of stuff this year. All of the big hitters, the Googles, the Microsofts, all of that kind of, those big end people are all saying the same thing. Where we are at with AI right now is like we've discovered fire. David, no problem. You'll get a copy of the recording on Monday. It's like we've discovered fire. Okay. We are still so new with AI, but it is that transformative that what everybody, the big high flyers that are kind of sitting, coding away and organizing this stuff, they've just kind of recognized that it's like we've just kind of banged some rocks together and figured out like, whoa, fire, now what? So this is a really huge change that we are living through. So Forbes predict that by the year 2030, so, 6 years away when you think we're really already at 2024, that AI will be worth $15.7 trillion US. So within 6 years, it's going to be a multi-trillion dollar economy. And it's the biggest opportunity in today's changing world. Okay. So that's kind of where we've been. And remember, AI has been around since, as I said, forever. Since the 60s was when the term was coined, during a university kind of lecture at Dartmouth in the US. And we've just been kind of progressing. What's held us back until now has been computing power. We're at that point now where the computers and our power, our networking capabilities are at that point where we can exponentially, take off. So let's look at where we're at this year and how we're seeing AI really starting to impact, particularly us as small business owners over the last, 12 months. This is really where we've seen some big changes coming in. So first of all, it's around customer service automation. So we've been seeing things like, AI chatbots coming through. For a while. They've been around with, our social media. You could put in a few frequently asked questions and lead people down a bit of a pathway. But now they're at a point where, using AI, you can build out your quotations, you can build out documents, you can create reports, you can pull e-commerce data, create your databases, prepare for interviews. It's impacted accounting, basic support tasks, all of that kind of stuff. And basically what that means for us as small business owners is it's now we're able to be available for our clients really 24/7. So it allows us to interact with people on the other side of the globe in a time and in a way that is relevant and worth the people's time, our clients' time. So chatbots have gone off over the last 12 months. And if you're looking at something that can make a big difference in your business very, very quickly, introducing a chatbot would be one of them. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we've seen throughout the year the rise of personalization in marketing. So using AI now, we can really, customize video messages. We can really narrow down on online advertising. We can really create some very niche and specific content for very high end or high worth or high touch point clients that are just relevant for those people. We can create series of marketing automations or pieces of content that will lead people through the journey. So it's not so labor intensive for us. We can just come in at the point where we're actually needed, and our clients can be a little bit more self-sufficient in terms of that journey for how they choose to find us. This type of content, this type of market personalization we're seeing is increasing conversion rates. It's increasing delivery rates. It's increasing overall net promoter scores in terms of client satisfaction, because they can access the type of content that they want when they want. And remember, just now by producing, say, a video, if that's what you're comfortable with, using AI, you can strip the audio and create a podcast or an audio file to go with it. You can, get it to transcribe it and turn it into a blog. You can create social media. So it's not as labor intensive. And this is certainly ways that AI is impacting in a positive way our productivity as business owners. The other one is sales forecasting. So we're seeing a lot around being able to use AI to predict forecasting trends, customer demands, data analysis, lead scoring, predictive analytics, that type of thing. Now, there's more AI being built now into the back end of our, bookkeeping systems like Mile or Xero or whatever ones that you use. But certainly accountants can be producing this kind of content for us, or we can be producing this type of content for ourselves based on, previous sales data and histories of how our system generates clients over the years. We can keep an eye on, those lulls and try to even those things out a little more. Some of the other ways that we're seeing is fraud detection, security. So certainly banks, financial institutions are really ramping up their cybersecurity around AI, with the rise of, what we're seeing with audio, deepfake audios, deepfake videos, etc. It can track now unexpected CPU usage. It's getting better at finding malware and things like that. So definitely we're seeing the trickle down effect of that increased high level security thanks to AI. It can better predict those denial of service and those types of malware and attacks before they actually hit us. So that's a nice one. And that's going to have to keep ramping up because, you know, some of well, we saw with the Beatles, right? And the guy that I was talking about that reproduced Adele's voice, you know, this stuff's out there now. So imagine, you know, why we always need to be on the front foot with, you know, not trusting anything right now and getting really, really good at that, you know, AI cybersecurity. Operational efficiency, something else that we've really noticed an impact with this year. So, you know, things like management software, scheduling, logistics, inventory management. So I work with some people in manufacturing. They've put a lot of AI in place now to kind of smooth out their inventory cycle. So knowing when they need to be holding more stock, understanding, you know, the impacts of shipping. It kind of taps into the shipping route so they know in advance when things are being delayed or whatever, so they can hold back inventory or they can release stuff or they know when to price up. So there's a lot of this kind of stuff coming through and already in place, right? Data-driven decision making, you know, leveraging data to get better insights on our customer behavior, on our market trending, to be able to see our purchase histories and understand that, you know, somebody's purchased this from us previously and then they've done this and done this. They've got a far more likelihood of buying something else if we send them something now. So what we're seeing is, again, you know, one of the manufacturing companies that I was working with on a government project, we put this automated AI inventory system in and utilizing this AI, they were able to get a 30% reduction in operation costs and reduction in stock outages, right? Like 30% reduction. Crazy kind of numbers that AI is able to assist with. And then you've got, you know, the enhanced side of things around your HR management, your interviewing, using AI for talent acquisition, for performance analysis, for personalizing training programs. This is really something that I'm in love with right now. And I'm closely involved with one of the universities now to create a new course next year that's following a very personalized AI journey, and we're mapping out what that's going to look like, and then I'll be doing some guest lecturing for them next year to really kind of finesse that. So we can see RTOs and education and unis and schools really moving more towards this personalized learning. So think about how you could be in you know, utilizing that for either onboarding staff or upskilling staff or even clients. You know, if selling courses or selling knowledge is part of what you do in your business, you've now got an opportunity to really look at personalizing this content to make it absolutely specific and intentional for the way that your clients and your people learn. Okay, let me just pause and I'm going to take a bit of a drink. I'm just going to go through some of the questions and comments that we've had. So recordings. So Karen's using AI for productivity, been using it too, does still make mistakes. Yep, so do humans, Gillian. So it's part of all the learning. Love the guy with the blue and red glasses. Yeah. Grew up with the supply chain virtual forum yesterday, is making real changes and saving billions of dollars. Absolutely. So Luke and Penny are using it a little bit for content generation, but you've got to proofread it first. Absolutely. And remember, it's a really good point. You know, like AI is a machine. It is not you. You know, you are still the expert in your industry. You still need to take responsibility for what you're putting out, and you need to personalize that content to make it sound like you. But certainly I use AI for all of my content iteration. You know, I don't turn up of a morning and go, I wonder what I'm going to do today. You know, I'll put a talking point or a web link into AI now and say, you know, give me a synopsis, and then I'll tweak it and start working with it. So absolutely. All right, so let's look at 2024. This is what is going to hit us in the next 12 months. Some of it, let me give you the hint, much sooner than the 12 months. So let's look at Microsoft for a second. I'm just getting a few more messages come through. So let's just say Amelia's just said, been using AI for a little while for content creation. Now I'm curious, what AI apps does everyone use? Extra point if you have a great one for imagery. So Amelia, all of my images are created through ChatGPT using DALL-E. But certainly if you go back through some of my top 10 tips for this year, the monthly webinars, you'll get access to some of the best apps that we've been using this year. Jane's been using it to get ideas, different scenarios, drafting tasks, use it as a colleague to provide feedback. Fantastic. Then review and check everything, use some or all of it or none of it. Yep, perfect. And Anthony, is it all personalized differently? What if the content is the same as other businesses? So that's a really interesting thing. So Rachel's just said, okay, Rachel, how you doing? Using it to write specific job interview questions. Perfect. Use it for sales and marketing writing because I'm crap at that. Do what you do. Exactly. Like, don't do what you don't like doing. Creating content outlines, perfect. Generating headlines, awesome. So on that, what if it all starts to sound the same? Again, you need to, when it comes out, it's going to sound vanilla because remember, AI is just a prediction. Okay. When you ask it a question or you put some thoughts into it, it's predicting what the next thing, what the next sentence, what the next word, what the next paragraph is going to be. So it's always going to sound a little bit vanilla, but it's then up to you the way you kind of, tweak it, insert your own personality, add a bit of humor, add a bit of sarcasm, whatever your personality is. That's when it really, the magic starts to happen. And I've had a room of, and Luke and Penny can say this, we've had a room of like 15 people all putting in exactly the same prompt and testing the system, and it's always slightly different. Okay, the wording is always slightly different. The guts of the thing might be similar, but the wording is always slightly different. It's always then again up to you to polish it somewhat. Okay, back to Microsoft. So you can see one of the things I will say to you about using AI generated imagery. Well, I love the imagery, not great at the spelling, so we're okay for now. So I was just reading this morning, this was a quote from an article I was reading this morning, that we're at a time where this will be remembered as the moment that we as individuals began to harness the power of AI in our daily lives. So, I remember my grandma was 104 when she passed away. So poor Pete, great genes in my family. He's going to be stuck with me for a while. But I can remember chatting to my grandma about, getting electricity, like using a fridge for the first time and not having to keep a meat safe and keep stuff kind of, stored in the river to keep it cool and drag it up and do what you need to do. So again, this is where we're at. We are just putting a fridge in our kitchen. Okay. We're just figuring this stuff out. So Microsoft, you may or may not know, Microsoft are 49% shareholders in OpenAI, the team that runs ChatGPT. So you can bet that they have been incorporating a lot of AI in the background, and Microsoft are going gangbusters with AI. Now, Microsoft call their AI assistant CoPilot, hence all of my little imagery for the today, this image. So CoPilot has been, kind of trickling out for a while. If you're an enterprise user, so I know many of my government clients are online watching this, wondering what's kind of impacting. So enterprise users got access to all of CoPilot as of November 1. 365 is starting to roll out first quarter. They also released some new updates again just this morning. So, I was busy trying to read stuff again before we were online this morning. But basically where 365 is going, and hands up my Microsoft users in the house, put a little thumbs up in the chat or give me a, yeah. So, all right. So this one, you're going to love this one. So CoPilot, the one that blows me away is the ability to ask your system about anything. So I'm really bad at remembering where I've stored stuff, right? I'll create a file and then I'll go, where the hell did I store that thing? So, you're going to have with CoPilot the ability to say, hey, find me that file I wrote for Gail about blah. And it's just going to pull up everything to do with Gail, whether it's emails, Word documents, spreadsheets, whatever it is, it's going to pull them all up. And then you can say, okay, you won't even have to say to it, I've got a meeting coming up with Gail, because your calendar's connected. So it's going to go, you've got a meeting coming up with Gail. Here's a summary of the last meeting. And, here's the tasks that everybody had to do. And, your meeting's scheduled for 10. So I'm going to go in prepared, because it's going to start to collate all of that information for me. Now, imagine that you're on a Teams meeting with a group of people. So Teams is just like, Zoom, but for Microsoft users. And you finish your Teams meeting, you'll immediately get a transcript of the recording. You will get highlighted sections of the tasks that the people had been allocated. It will then put it into a project flow. So you'll get little updates with how, Wendy's going, or, whoever's going. So, how the project is tracking. It will pre-organize the next meetings for you. So if you're in the same organization and had access to the calendars, it'll be able to say, I can see Wendy's available here and you're available here. So I'm just going to make an appointment. If you're outside the organization, it's going to reach out to Rachel and go, hey, Tracy's got availability here, here, and here. Pick a time that suits, and then it will pre-schedule and set everything up for me. It will, allow me to rework a document. So if I need to send something to Wendy or to Amelia, I can say, remove this bit, the internal piece, rewrite it to Wendy. They're going to know who Wendy is, because it's going to have the email history there, and know that it's an external supplier, and that, she doesn't need to know that much. So, imagine now, very, very quickly, this stuff is starting to save you a bunch of time, in terms of like, oh my God, I'm catching up with Gail again. What was that thing about? What did I need to do? It's just going to do all of that for you. Okay. It's even now, this morning's thing was saying that, you'll be able to generate images and PowerPoint presentations and things just on description. Now, again, remember, just banged a couple of rods together and finding fire. Imagine what this is going to be like in 24 months, 36 months, etc. So, Bron, this is rolled out as enterprise customers as of November 1. The scuttlebutt down the pipeline is it rolls out to, it started to roll out to 365. So you can get Bing and Edge now, which does some of this stuff, but it will start to roll out properly across 365 first quarter of 2024. Okay, so we've got the sorry office assistant who sits in the room taking notes of the meeting. Well, is that the best use of their time, or are they best put to other tasks? Because of course they'll also be able to, the AI will also be able to translate to other languages and things as well if needed. It'll also be able to answer questions. So again, imagine you're looking at onboarding someone, and I jump on and I want to work with Bron. I can jump on to Bron's site or internal thing, and I can say, what are the benefits of working with Bronwyn? And it'll come up and say, you get donuts on a Friday, massages every second Thursday, and you get 6 weeks holiday, and whatever the benefits are, and then we'll give you the citations to allow that to go with it. So Microsoft, who's kind of like excited, scared, trepidatious, nervous, any of the other good adjectives about what's coming down the pipeline for Microsoft? Okay, excellent. We've got some hand claps and things going on. Awesome. All right. So hands up my Google users. I don't think you'd need to go enterprise, Bron. Yeah. Worried, Sheila. Okay. So Google have their own version of AI. It's called Google Duet. Okay. It is now available as an add-on to the Google Workspace. I kind of think it's a bit expensive, to be honest. It's around $33 Australian per month per user. Similar to CoPilot. So Jeff's just saying, got to prep for a client call. Big hugs. Jeff, I'll give you a bell before Chrissy. Similar to CoPilot, doesn't have as many functionalities. Okay. So if you are playing around in Google Workspace now, you will notice, or have noticed maybe, if you open a Google Doc now, it says, are you drafting an email? Are you, what are you trying to do? Google Duet is what they call it, Kylie, in the Google Workspace. And that's their AI. If you Google Duet, you'll see what functionality is coming up. And they have their own version of kind of ChatGPT, which is called Google Bard. Now, again, just reading this morning, Gemini Pro, which is kind of the high-end version of Google Bard, is going to roll out across Google products. So the first it'll hit will be YouTube, Google Docs, Gmail, etc. Through Bard, and that's starting today. Blink and you miss this stuff, right? Really need to be on top of everything that's going on right now. So if you log in after this call to your Google Workspace, given we're behind the US, probably let's say tomorrow, you log into your Google Workspace, open up a Google Doc, you're going to start to see some of this AI functionality. At the top of a Google Doc now, I can see immediately when I open it, it says, do you want meeting notes? Do you want this? Do you want that? Because I've been trialing this stuff for a while. It's here. Now the interesting, the Google Bard, the ChatGPT, some of the boffins are kind of saying that this is now going to overtake ChatGPT in terms of performance. Now, they've got a few different, and I'm not going to totally geek out because it doesn't really matter, but they've got a few kind of score thingies that they map, like Gary Kasparov as the chess champion against Deep Blue to prove that this and that, so they have their little scoring metrics to prove when things are at a point of like, yep, okay, it's better than a human at this now. And today in the release notes that I read, and I'm just going to read this directly because I only read it this morning, with a score of 90%, Gemini Ultra is the first AI model to outperform human experts on a range of activities. So the next generation that they're now moving into is sophisticated reasoning, multimodality, and advanced coding. So the coding probably doesn't interest us, although I'm sure Pete's little ears just went, what? Multimodality, again, right? Docs, images, everything. So we're moving towards this collective kind of thing. Sophisticated reasoning. That's the bit that you should be going, ooh, hang on, what does that mean, right? Think back to staring out at the ocean. What does that mean? Louise? Wow, exactly. All right. Okay, let's take a breath. Here's a quote I read from Gartner, who do a lot of statistical research, and this will kind of give you a bit of an idea. By 2025, 30% of outbound marketing messages from large organizations will be synthetically generated. In 2022, does anyone want to have a guess in the chat what percentage of what that is now? So 30% by 2025. Where do you think in 2022 that number sits? 5%? 2%? 5, 2%. Exactly. So 2% in 2022 to 30% in 3 years. If you're interacting with your bank, Woolies, any of the larger organizations, a very good chance, 1 in 3 chance that your interaction is completely AI driven. Okay. And today, again, reading in my little stuff, the world's favorite supervillain with his white cat, Elon Musk, has said that he's chasing $1 billion in funding for X.AI, which is his chatbot. Now, last month, it came out with real-time knowledge. Okay, remember ChatGPT with GPT-4 is now only May 2023. So Grok, which is Elon's version, came out last month with real-time knowledge. Okay, quick. So here's what I want you to be thinking for 2024. Here's where I see 2024 when we're sitting down together on the 7th of December 2024 to look at the state of play for 2025 for AI. Here's where I think we'll be. You'll jump off a Zoom call or Teams call or whatever virtual service that you're using. Immediately you will get your transcription through. You will get your list of tasks. That will all be automated to the people that were on the call as well. It will then schedule your calendar for follow-ups based on availability. It will check your progress on how you're going based on those tasks. You'll get reminders of when you need to refresh or keep the project kind of moving. It will be pre-drafting your social media content, generating your images based on, what it knows about your business. It'll be writing newsletters, other bits of content for you. Really, they're the biggest impacts I see AI having for us as business owners. Okay. It's not going to shut us down. It's not going to get rid of jobs right now. But in terms of like, oh my God, have I got to do another, insert random task or whatever, or how am I going to remember that? It's just going to start remembering that stuff for you. It's just going to start taking that load off you. It will be drafting reply emails for you. So an email will land from Amanda, and it will automatically draft an email. I will decide whether I want it to, automatically reply or whether I want to read through it before, it automatically replies. But it's going to that's junk, get rid of it, move them in different places. And of course, it's going to get better the more we allow and interact and do with it. But I'm really excited at how much time I believe this stuff is going to give us back for the work that we actually enjoy doing in our business. Okay. None of this kind of like, oh, I've got to do this again. It'll be like, I get to, create some videos, or I get to spend more time with clients, or I get to do the stuff that I love doing. But this is where I see it kind of going. So then Amanda's email AI will be replying to my email AI. That's exactly, like what I see happening. All right. Let's look at the next iteration of what I see kind of in parallel happening in 2025. So this is Digit. Digit is the first human-centric multi-purpose robot that's been made for logistics work. So these guys are in operations now, and the Tesla bot and the agility robots, which is this guy, the factories for these guys have just opened in the last few weeks. Okay, so these are being mass produced now in the thousands in 2024. So manual handling, logistics will be very much quickly. Oh dear, let's hope it helps me with my English next year. Will heavily impact logistics and manual loading, etc. next year. Okay, very quickly this stuff is going to. So think of the Amazon employees that we always hear are getting underpaid and don't get, toilet breaks and all that kind of stuff. Sadly, those people's days are numbered. They will probably be 1 to 10 digits, just, overseeing to make sure Digit's not in a corner somewhere, just, walking into a rack and doing those for, 30 minutes. So this is, and these guys, amazing. Like, again, I'll pop a link in. They're climbing stairs, they're jumping, they're up on one leg, they're, lifting things with one hand and twisting, but there's none of this concern about, the OH&S implications that we have as humans about, bend with your knees, keep your back straight, all that kind of stuff. So, Digit. This is Spot. Now, I met Spot at South by Southwest, but in that instance, he was called Quake, and Quake was owned by the Australian Army. So imagine what the defence capabilities are going to be with these guys. And let me introduce you a little bit to Spot. I'm not going to play all of it, but again, I'll pop the link in the recording because it is worth a watch.
Greetings, good sirs. May I have the pleasure of knowing your names?
I'm Matt, and that's Vache.
A pleasure to meet you, Matt and Vacha. Shall we commence our journey? The charging stations where Spot robots rest and recharge is our first point of interest. Follow me, gentlemen. Let's proceed to the rock part.
Hey, Spot, how do you like your job?
Ah, Mr. Matt, my employment as a tour guide provides great satisfaction.
So, Spot has now been connected with AI. So, as a human, you can interact with it and give it different personalities. So, yes, Sophia, that was an English butler. Let me forward through
use technologies like these.
Boston Dynamics. I am Spot, and I will be your guide for today. Please follow me to the museum and the rest of the building.
This is where we showcase our fastest four-legged robot, which can run up to 19 miles per hour. I hope you're not too slow to keep up with it.
That's true. That's the right exhibit.
Have you ever seen a robot run as fast as our Wildcat robot before?
I have not.
So basically what we did was
Right. So that's Josh. That's another personality. And then the one that amused me the most, I'll see if I can jump to it. I think it was about around here.
Sure. What do you think about it?
As a Spot robot, I find these demonstrations of our capabilities quite extraordinary. It's a testament to the ingenuity of our creators, bridging the gap between the mechanical and the organic. Our precise movements mimic the finesse found in nature, a remarkable feat indeed.
Hey, Spot, thanks for the...
So that one was an archaeologist, 1920s archaeologist. And
We think a capability like this might be useful not just to our current customers, but maybe even applications we haven't even imagined yet.
Let's go take a break in the lounge, Matt. We can sit down and enjoy a cup of oil together.
the last one I didn't really get to, but I mean, it's 8 minutes, but scroll through. The last one they gave it was a teenage personality. Now, why you would do that, I have no idea. But again, imagine, you're running an organization like a gym that you want to, entice millennials or I can't remember the name of the generation, the millennials, Gen Z, to you program your robots with AI to mimic the language and develop the rapport, and they're operating as tour guides there. So again, right, we're moving beyond this of just productivity, but now it's becoming actual robots. So Japan is spending a lot of money around humanoid robots. So thinking back to the first one that we met, as healthcare givers, because they realize that they don't have the population to take care of their aging population. So they're investing in robots for each human in Japan to ensure that they can be taken care of in the house, that, they can lift them if they fall over. This stuff is wild where we're going. And let's look a little bit at crystal ball gazing, because we've only got a couple of minutes left to go. So start popping any questions that you've got into the chat, and we'll make sure that we cover them off. We may go a couple of minutes over, so I apologize for that. So where do I think we're going? Okay, so this is not 2024. Okay, this is, a couple of years down the track. Although I think the big game changer is if we get AGI, which is the complete general artificial intelligence, and that's when things start connecting to each other. Now, my personal, and this is, Asterix's terms and conditions apply. Please do not quote me on this. Please do not. Tracy said, so I'm going to go, no. But do you remember a few weeks ago, it feels like a few weeks ago, it's probably only last week, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, got booted, right? And then there was a big hurrah, and he came back a few days later. A couple of days before he got booted, in a public announcement, he said that there had been a major discovery. Now, the only thing I know of that they're working on, and, I'm clearly not plugged in, they don't, include me on the memos, but I've met with their go-to market lead of ChatGPT, and I've met a few people in the industry. I suspect that they may have cracked AGI, and that was Sam kind of leaking it as like this is coming, because the best estimates from the people in the know are saying 2028, 2030. 2028 seems to be the general consensus, right? So if they've cracked it, AGI will roll out sooner than that, which means now all our systems start to talk to each other. So we're not just operating in Microsoft. We're not just operating in Google. We're not just operating in Facebook. Facebook is now talking to Microsoft, talking to Netflix, talking to our security cameras at home, talking to our MyGov, My Health, all that kind of stuff. And we're now starting to get a complete picture. Thank you, Seamus. So imagine not that far away, we have AI that is connected to our Internet of Things. So where it's saying, thanks, guys. Thanks, Gavin. Thanks, Split Spaces. So, it's getting to a point now where as we age, the AI will say, you haven't taken your medication today, your blood pressure's up, you've got a doctor's appointment. And I'll say, you know, I want to watch the latest special #2 from Doctor Who. I don't care where it comes from. It will just play it for me. I don't care if it's Netflix or Disney or whatever. It's just going to play it for me because it's connected and it knows what I like. It's going to say, hey, the new Picard's starting. Let's sit down and watch it together. It's going to be connected to my health. So it's going to be drip feeding my GP all the time. But will my GP be a GP? You know, I'd be perfectly happy to take a call with an AI person because maybe there's not enough GPs in a country regional environment, so I can log in and have just a telehealth appointment with the AI that will then feed the information through. We've got robotics coming down the line, right? So let me put it this way. My grandbabies, Pete and I have 2 grandbabies, like 3 and 2. I doubt they're ever going to drive a car. They're certainly not going to go and buy groceries the way that we do now. They're not going to be retail shopping. They're not going to be, you know, looking through Netflix trying to figure out what they're going to watch. It's just going to be there, and their time and their effort will be focused on the things that they enjoy. All right, we're 11 o'clock. What can we do? I promise you I'll get through this really quickly. I should have made it 90 minutes, right? I get if you got to go, please do. You will get the recording. So what can you do? I have a framework, 3 steps. Put the art in artificial, okay? First thing, you need to be aware of all of this stuff. You need to be aware of what's coming. Get a basic understanding of what AI is. Get a basic understanding of what it means for your industry, and start looking at what's going on in the AI universe. Jump on webinars, you know, stay connected with me. Whatever that looks like for you, be aware. Develop your roadmap. Again, we're not in any threat of our overlords taking over very quickly from our spelling. So you need a roadmap for what you want to put in place in your business. What's the first thing you want to learn? Is it Microsoft? You know, is it getting an understanding of just connecting your calendars? What is it? Put your roadmap in place. And then last thing, trial. To me, that's playing, right? Trial and transform, trial and transform, trial and transform, go back around, stay aware. So 3 steps to the framework, put the art in artificial. So where to from here? Pop some notes into the chat. Let me know where we're at. We've gone through a lot of stuff, right? I don't know if your mind's blown, if you're feeling excited, if you want to go and sit in a corner and just rock backwards and forwards and be sent like, you know, chocolate and gin for the rest of the day. Not sure, but let me know how you're feeling. Remember, you know, Microsoft, ChatGPT, all that stuff is here. It's coming. It will impact you directly this year. So become aware of what that looks like. I'm releasing first quarter of next year. I'll be releasing a regular update. So it's going to be called Artificial Thinking. It'll be a newsletter with, you know, what do you call it? A monthly 30-minute webinar. I'll be doing a regular weekly actual newsletter, just updating you of, you know, what I'm seeing. Nothing long, nothing boring, any of that kind of stuff. The link is in the chat. You'll get an email this afternoon with a link to that as well. And I am going to do a 30-minute prompt engineering webinar. I've had a lot of people ask me that, you know, how do I interact with ChatGPT better? So in the email that you get this afternoon, there will be, do you want to join the Prompt Power 30-minute webinar? And that's going to be on Monday, the 29th of January. It's only going to be 30 minutes, a really quick drop in. And then, you know, my challenge, what are you going to do? What's the one thing I want to know? What's one thing you're going to walk away from today and start looking at or doing or using in your business? That's me. I put an image in, one of Louise's beautiful images of me, and asked the AI to replicate me in 1950s style. So that is me saying that this is my last webinar for 2023. I will be finishing at the end of the year. Finishing at the end of the week for the year, and be back in January. But, you know, stay on top of socials, keep me up to date with what's going on, and, you know, love to hear from you. We'll stay connected. All of the images, all of the links to stay connected will be in the email as well. Let me come off share screen and let me answer some of these questions. So I know I have one to go back to about why the wait list. Since they've gone to ChatGPT 4 and they've now got DALL-E connected into it and you can connect apps, they're just at capacity. So they've released their own chatbot as well. So really they are just at total capacity right now. So they have a wait list on. Check out Bing, Microsoft Bing. It is really good. Perplexity is another one that is interesting to have a play with. But in the meantime, if you're looking for something as a ChatGPT alternative, Google Bard gets exceptional reviews. Microsoft Bing, Perplexity is also another good one. And if you're a Canva user, Magic Write inside Canva as well. Awesome Christmas card image, I reckon. Enjoy the break. Thank you, David. I'm committed to getting to Darwin as well. Jane, please just don't make it through summer. Lovely break. Awesome. Understand the different apps that we can work with AI to assist admin tasks. Rachel, check out my top 10 tech tips from the year. So every month I was doing top 10 AI tools that I was finding, and there's a lot around productivity and stuff in there. So maybe, Pete, can you take a note? Maybe we include the YouTube link to all of the top 10 tech tips for the year. Bronwyn said, found Perplexity has deteriorated markedly. I'm using it a lot, but have stopped. Yeah, I found the same, Bron. Excellent. Hey, folks, thank you for hanging with us. We are 5 minutes over. If you do have any questions, please, hang around. Happy to answer them. Otherwise, thank you. Have a great festive break. Please get curious. Keep the art in artificial. Jump in. Christmas Day is coming up. If you have kids or family, jump into ChatGPT and say to it, here's a list of gifts I'm giving my kids. Write a treasure map. Do a treasure hunt for the kids. Play with ChatGPT that way. Write a Christmas song for your family. Using the first Noel, write me a Christmas song for my family. Here's the names of my kids. Here's the ages. Include the dog. Just start having a play with it. And that is it. Great artwork. Thank you, Tracy. Have a lovely Christmas. Check the website. So the website is under reconstruction. We are coming back next year with an AI-driven site, which is very exciting. Are the recordings of the monthly sessions available? Yes, they're in my YouTube channel, Olga. We will put a link to them in the recording. So you will get an email this afternoon about the newsletter and the webinar. You'll also get an email on Monday, which will have the copy of the recording in it. Excellent. All right. Sounds like we are out of questions. Not sure if that means that people are going off for Bex and a lay down, but whatever that looks like for you, drink lots of water. Have a fabulous Christmas. Thank you so much for your support in 2023. And I look forward to seeing you all in a brand new AI-infused universe. Stay tuned for more info on the book, AI and You, Business Reimagined. Take care. See you next year.